The Democrats have been nonstop talking about how JD Vance is supposedly weird, but in reality, this is a huge reflection of what they really are behind the scenes. According to recent reports, Kamala Harris's husband cheated on his first wife with the babysitter. He said that he takes, quote, full responsibility, whatever that means. Obviously, it's your responsibility because of the fact that you're the one that did it. Also in the news, we have a 9/11 plea deal that was supposed to take place, but of course, the Biden administration is so incompetent that they can barely even tie their shoes, never mind holding people accountable for killing thousands of Americans years ago. All of that and more on today's episode.
Facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
Starting off with this daily WTF clip of Kamala Harris. Just play the clip.
What else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up, and families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously, very seriously. And we know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life for all people in our country. So it's a big issue, and we take it seriously. And it is a priority, therefore.
Yeah. Every single day, I guess we have a new clip of Kamala Harris just having a double order of a nothing burger with a side of a word salad. It really is pathetic that the vice presidential nominee for the Democratic side and a potential president of America can't even put a sentence together coherently. It just does not make any sense whatsoever. Like, what are you even talking about? What is even going on here? It just does not make any sense. I just don't understand. She says 3 words per 1 word actually needed in a sentence. She just keeps going. Like, what are you even talking about? She's like, yeah, inflation. She has no answer whatsoever on how to fix inflation. She has no answer whatsoever on anything that is an actual question because the media, again, are not even supposed to ask questions to the Democrats. The media is only supposed to ask questions to the Republicans and just let the Democrats just do whatever they want. Just like I said a few days ago, the media lets the Democrats do whatever the Democrats want, while Republicans have to sit there and face extremely hard questions and a loaded question like what they did to Trump a few days ago. So, digging right in here, we have the fact that most of you already know that Florida is putting abortion on the ballot. And this is a very important thing now because they're saying that the people must vote on whether you have the ability to kill your child or to not kill your child, which then you play God, but that's another topic we already know. But what is the wording of this question? Let's find out here. So, of course, we've released a video, not we, but they in Florida released a video on what actually is in Amendment. Amendment 4 is actually going to be the abortion amendment, and that's going to be what is placed on the ballot. So let's see the breakdown of this right here. It's very, very important that everybody actually finds out what's on your ballot coming November because there's a lot of things that are in the ballot that are going to be either changing our every single day lives, which is the president of America, or in other terms, actually allowing people to go and do harmful things to their children. So let's watch this short video here.
Bait and switch, sleight of hand, smoke and mirrors, all deceptions that make one thing seem like another. Like Amendment 4, an abortion amendment that's much more extreme than at first it seems. Here's Amendment 4, and here are other amendments from years past. Most provide detailed definitions of essential words, so voters know what they're voting on. So, how many definitions does Amendment 4 provide? 0. This small trick is a big scam. Amendment 4 says no law shall restrict abortion before viability, but never defines viability. It allows late-term abortions for a patient's health, but never defines patient's health. It allows so-called healthcare providers, not doctors, to define these terms, but never defines healthcare provider, a term broad enough to include non-medical staff at abortion clinics. Just as bad, Amendment 4 eliminates Florida's parental consent laws, replacing consent with notification and making abortion the only medical procedure a minor could undergo without a parent's consent.
Which is just disgusting, by the way, because how can you as a child have more rights than to not actually tell your parents? Like, yes, your parent is going to be mad that you're killing your child, or your mom is going to be mad that you just went out and did something that you now regret. Okay, but that's part of the learning process, and you cannot go and say, oh, well, never mind about this decision. No, you made the decision. I mean, obviously 90% of abortions happen exactly this way. You made the decision to have sex with another person, and now you have the offspring of that decision. Now, you can't go and say, well, never mind, I just wish that this decision never happened. Well, the decision happened, and you must go forward with that decision. I mean, it is what it is here. And this is exactly why we should have all of these different things in place for unexpected moms, so then they can go and they can get some products if they really can't afford it, and they can get some babysitting and stuff like that. So if you really have to go and work while your baby is growing up and stuff like that, which is perfectly reasonable in this economy, there is going to be a daycare for that child. So it'll be way better than actually killing the child, 1000%. But of course, when they put this on the ballot, they're not explaining anything the way that they're supposed to, and that's exactly why this amendment is not good whatsoever. Any vague language in a law, they can just take this, you give them an inch and they'll just take like several miles. Never mind 1 mile, they'll take several miles. So what I find frankly very annoying is that, yeah, they'll say that they'll put something on the ballot, and then they'll deceive voters. They'll deceive you, the American people, because they think that you're stupid. Watch this very closely, because in a lot of different states, they're going to be doing the same exact thing. And this is in Florida, mind you. They know that people are very smart in Florida. They elected Ron DeSantis twice. They elect so many good congressmen, so that's senators and that's House of Representative members, that are really, really good and solid Republicans. That's exactly why they need to deceive the voters. That's absolutely disgusting. Whatever organization or whatever government or bureaucracy actually passed this and got this accepted to put on the ballot truly needs to be investigated and truly needs to be dismantled immediately, and everyone in that bureaucracy needs to be fired. That's what needs to happen. But of course, there's no accountability in our bureaucracy of a government. It's disgusting.
Have to write Amendment 4 this way, but they did. Why? Because they want to deceive you, to make their extreme amendment seem reasonable. This is what Amendment 4's ballot summary says, but this is what it means. No law shall prohibit any abortion at any time for any reason determined by abortion clinic employees. This amendment makes abortion the only medical procedure your child can undergo without your consent. It sounds extreme because it is extreme. No definitions, no doctors, no parental consent. Amendment 4, way too extreme and not what it seems.
And I completely agree with this ad. 1000%. People need to actually sue. I mean, I don't even know if you have the availability to actually sue. People need to actually hold these organizations accountable. I just don't understand why these organizations could get away with deceiving us, the American people, deceiving us into thinking that we're voting for one thing while not voting for that one thing, voting for a total different thing here. So you think that you're trying to pass an abortion bill that's actually going to be beneficial for human life, but of course you're deceived, and now you're going to be voting against abortion, even though you think that you might be voting for an abortion. or vice versa, you're voting for abortion, even though you might think that you're voting against abortion. It's just disgusting. More people need to be talking about this because they deceive us, the American people, time and time again because they do not respect us. They spit in our face, even in Republican states, and that's exactly how they can get away with passing laws like this, with decisive language and deceiving language that actually goes and makes you think that you're voting one thing, even though that you're voting for another thing. It's absolutely disgusting. And then they're going to say here, after going and putting that law on the ballot, people are going to not see this ad, obviously. They're not going to see what's really on the ballot. And then what's going to happen is that the abortion is going to be banned in Florida until the day before you're actually giving birth. And then they're going to say, well, abortion was on the ballot. The people have spoken. Well, the people have not spoken because you deceived the people that were voting. Oh my God, it's absolutely disgusting. It really is. The Democrats are disgusting this year, and they are showing their true colors. You need to remember this in November. Remember that they hate you, the American people. Like I keep saying, Democrats hate you. They want to actually dismantle your family. They want to dismantle America. They want to dismantle your right to protect yourself and your family while making sure that criminals have access to guns. They do not care. They want to make sure that criminals have access to all the drugs, all the guns, everything, while restricting you, the American people, from actually just never mind the drug thing, just protecting yourself and your family with the rampant crime because they refuse to prosecute crime. They refuse to prosecute crime. They refuse to lock up actual criminals. And what they do is they blame you, the American people, for wanting to defend yourself and your family. It's disgusting. It really, really is. They have shown their true colors time and time again. Do not ignore them when they show their true colors. Now, we have a very big inflation problem, and Kamala Harris is here to fix it, right? Kamala Harris, she's great. She is the chef making up these word salads that are very, very good. We have some ranch on that word salad. We have a side of a nothing burger. We have a full meal. Now, what is Kamala Harris's actual plan to get this inflation problem solved? This inflation problem has been affecting Americans since it has first taken a grip on our economy. Everything has gone up exponentially. It has gone up like 56% on the high end, 36% on the low end. Gas has almost doubled in price since the last time that we had Trump in office. We have seen so many things just fail throughout the whole entire nation, and now we're barely affording all of our bills. Now, what is Kamala Harris's plan? Let's find out, right? Kamala Harris, right? The borders are, she knows exactly what she's doing. She's been a politician for a little while. What is her actual plan? Well, let's find out of her plan right here.
What else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up. And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more.
Wow.
And we have to understand what that means.
What does that mean?
That's about the cost of living
Wow.
going up.
Oh my goodness.
That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources.
Wow.
That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry.
Yeah.
So it is something that we take very seriously.
Okay, so what's your plan?
Very seriously. And we know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life.
No kidding.
For all people in our country.
Yeah, so what's your plan?
So it's a big issue, and we take it seriously. And it is a priority, therefore.
Then what's the actual solution? Instead of her actually saying, okay, inflation's a big problem, here's what we're going to do. We're going to actually make sure that imported goods are actually now made in America because now we don't have to pay such high rates for it to come through. We need to make sure that oil is actually fracked. I take back my former statements. I was stupid. We need to frack here in America. We need to make sure that we produce more in America because it's cheaper to make here because of the fact that we don't have to import it and we don't have to pay all those fees. We need to open it up. We need to give more licenses. We need to give some more permits. That's exactly what we need to do here. But of course, she's not going to say that because that's not what she's supposed to say. She's just supposed to sit there and filibuster, 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 and not say her solution to the problem that millions of Americans are facing. They cannot afford groceries, and she just restates the question we already know. We already know that Americans are suffering. Tell us what your solution is to that problem. It's disgusting. Now, talking about disgusting things, we have the International Boxing Association holding a press conference in Paris to address the issues surrounding the boxer that is a man that everybody's saying that's a girl, but he's not a girl. We have XY chromosomes. You can say that you have, okay, well, yeah, there's intersex and whatever, and 0.001% of the population actually has intersex genes, which you are actually a female, but you are born with the XY chromosomes, vice versa, or you are born with 2Y chromosomes and stuff like that, whatever. But that does not matter whatsoever. You can sit here and make all the excuses in the world, but now when we have a boxer with an unfair testosterone advantage than all the other women, why are you going to sit here and try to make the excuse that this supposed woman can end up on the women's team with an unfair testosterone advantage? Are you going to allow all the women that this man is facing to get testosterone boosters now, just so they're on the equal playing field? Are you going to allow this this challenger to actually have the unfair advantage of actually having more testosterone, which actually leads to more muscle growth and better training capabilities and stuff like that? And now we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We already had multiple battles that this man has won against women, and you can see that the women aren't even prepared for this because they get hit in the face one time and they're like, this is the hardest hit punch that I've ever had in my life. And I see a lot of people on X just saying, oh, well, the girl was just obviously not prepared and stuff like that. How about you go in that situation? You go face up against a person with 2 times the testosterone as you that had a unfair advantage when training. How about you go and face off against somebody like that? I wouldn't. That it's supposed to be an equal playing field. It's not an equal playing field when you have somebody with more testosterone than you, obviously with more muscles than you, and then just sitting there and punching you in the face. What the heck is that? No, that's not something that we should actually allow, especially in the Olympics when women are sitting there training their whole entire life for a situation like this, and then they get it ruined with a person that has an unfair testosterone advantage. Even if according to technicality, right, this supposed woman was born a woman. It does not matter. When you have XY chromosomes, you have an unfair playing advantage. Why are we going to allow people with an unfair playing advantage to play off against a woman that has perfectly no advantages whatsoever, and actually disadvantages in this case scenario? Less testosterone means less muscle. So easy to understand. So this is what the conference is. So according to Redox, which is a organization that actually likes to focus specifically on issues like this, I really recommend reading them if you do want to stay up to date on all of the news happening. So, highlights so far: both boxers were intentionally subjected to chromosomal testing by an independent laboratory in Istanbul after the IBA received complaints from coaches and competitors during the 2022 Women's Boxing Championships. Both boxers were retested in India during the 2023 Women's Boxing Championship to clarify and confirm prior results. Both boxers were found to have XY chromosomes. Both boxers were informed of the results of their testing in writing. Both boxers were given the opportunity to appeal the findings in the court of the arbitration for sport. The IBA offered to pay for the majority of a cost to allow both boxers to appeal. Lin Yi Ting did not appeal the decision. Anian Ganef appealed the decision and then withdrew the appeal. Why is it that we're still going to allow people with an unfair playing advantage to play off against people that don't have unfair advantages. So this is actually the leader of the organization here. This clip is too long. This is about 4 minutes, so we're not going to play the whole thing, but we're going to be breaking it down as he talks. So it's very disgusting. I'm disgusted already, and I didn't even listen to it. So here it is here.
There was a number of concerns from boxers, coaches, indeed the medical team, medical staff, the ringside doctors, regarding these two boxers in particular. Blood tests were taken, a gender test was taken as it was during the Women's World Championships in 2022 in Istanbul. At that point, I'm just going to highlight here. So on the 17th of May 2022, the results were taken, the blood tests were taken by a lab known as System Tip Laboratory in Istanbul. We can give the license numbers out so you'll be aware of that, and the results from there were issued on the 24th of May. Okay. The tests were taken, and the results, I'm going to discuss this shortly, the results that were brought out were inconsistent. So further to which, there's been a number of questions as to why, but we came about to the next female championships was taking part in 2023. So there is a time gap.
Well, okay, so hold on here. What you're saying is that you took tests and they were inconsistent. Why were they inconsistent? It doesn't even make any sense. If they're inconsistent, why are you still following through with the results of this if the tests were inconsistent? If they're inconsistent, then what? The laboratory doesn't know how to test? No, it means that there's something wrong here. There's a bright red light flashing in your eyeballs, and you're like, something seems a little fishy here. Yeah, there's a big neon light pointing towards the issue here, and you're just completely ignoring the issue. Why are we ignoring the issue here? Obviously, there's a man, and there's facing off against a woman. The chromosome test is going off the charts because the chromosome test is supposed to be for a woman, and the chromosome test is all confused because it's like, oh, what is this? Okay, obviously the chromosome test is going to be confused because we have XY chromosomes when it's trying to search for XX chromosomes. But he's saying this as if it's a good thing. Oh, 2 tests were required, and 2 tests are always required, guys. Don't worry about that. No, we're not worried about that. We're worried about the fact that you don't know what a woman is. We're worried about the fact that you would allow a man to face off against a woman, and even if they are technicality-wise not a woman, why are you allowing people with an unfair advantage to play off against people that do not have advantages? Why are we allowing this in our society? Why are we allowing this at the executive level, at the actual highest level of things? Because these women trained their whole entire life, and you're going to take it away from them just because of the fact that you want to allow people with unfair advantages to play in the field? No, it's disgusting. We're not going to allow this. Should not allow this. So, with that being said, it's just a disgusting thing. It really, really is. The fact that people actually still think that this is not a bad thing is beyond me. The fact that people are thinking that this is like a feminism thing, it's really not a feminism thing. It really isn't. Like, oh wow, feminism wins again. We have a man facing off against a woman. Like, what are you even talking about? You're saying that should happen? That's feminism for you? Yeah, of course, because it's making sure that everything is exactly equal, and women are just something that it's just a person, and then men are just a person too. So people versus people. Of course, we're not going to pay attention to the differentiators of these two people. Of course, women have advantages in certain aspects, and men have advantages in certain aspects. So of course, there's a reality that we need to actually pay attention to, and that's the fact that men and women are different. Now, what is a woman? An adult human female. And what is this? This is something that cannot be changed. This is something that you are born as, and you cannot change after the fact. And if you do change it after the fact, it's not, I mean, obviously you can't even change it, but let's just say if you try to change your appearance, doesn't mean that you're an actual woman. So, my God, I'm probably going to get banned, probably going to have to cut this part out of the podcast on YouTube and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter. It's the truth. It really, really is. Now, moving on to the next article, we actually have a Daily Wire article here. We have, according to, if this would load, that would be real helpful. According to Kamala Harris's husband, he has now admitted to impregnating impregnating babysitter. Oh my God, I hope not. Impregnating baby sister while cheating on first wife. Vice presidential comment, Vice President and presidential frontrunner Kamala Harris's husband Doug admitted to cheating on his first wife with the couple's babysitter after a report was published on Saturday that the marriage ended after he got the babysitter pregnant. The Daily Mail reported that Doug cheated on his then wife, Kristen Emhoff, with Najan Naylor, who also taught at a private school that the couple's children attended. Quote, during my first marriage, Christian and I went through some tough times on the account of my actions. Okay, so the account of my actions, what do you mean? I cheated on my wife and I'm disgusted. That's what you say. We had some tough times because of something that I did, and that was an action that I took, and that, like, what are you even talking about? You're dodging the situation. And then now he's saying that he's, quote unquote, takes full responsibility in the years since we worked through things as a family and have come out stronger on the other side. What do you mean stronger? You cheated on your wife. What stronger are you being? Oh, you're so strong that, what, you're not going to do it again? You have no other chance to do it again. You guys are divorced. Oh, this is just so stupid. And the best part about this is that at the same time as this situation's ongoing, they'll still call JD Vance weird. What's so weird about JD Vance? He doesn't cheat on his wife with a baby sister. Oh my God, babysitter. I can't. Obviously JD Vance cares about his family, and obviously, I mean, a lot of people are saying JD Vance wants to have more children because he doesn't care about people of color or actually reproducing on the non-white side. That's exactly what people are saying now, but they don't even use their eyes and see that JD Vance's wife is Indian. So what do we even, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Obviously, JD Vance's kids are not white. So what are we even talking about here? It just does not make any sense. This is just a big reflection point for the Democratic Party. Of course, they just want to push whatever narrative they're trying to push at that certain time, and that's about it. Moving on to the next article, we actually have Biden actually cancels 9/11 plea deal after severe backlash and ousts senior official who offered it. So this is according to the Daily Wire. The Biden-Harris administration canceled a stunning plea deal that was signed in this week with the terrorists that were responsible for September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on the United States, and relieved the senior United States official who offered the deal, which is just disgusting. Retired Brig General Susan K. Escalar, who was responsible for overseeing the war court case in Guantanamo Bay, was relieved from her position by Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin after her team entered in pre-trial agreements with the 9/11 mastermind Khalid Sharika Muhammad, Wild Mohammed Salik Mukbarak bin Astek, and Mustaraf Ahmed Adam El Esquire. I cannot pronounce any of these names. I completely butchered them. The deal allowed the terrorists to escape the death penalty in exchange for them pleading guilty to the murder of 2,976 people and serving sentences of at most life in prison. By removing Escalar, Austin assumed authority over the case and immediately canceled the agreement, meaning the death penalty is back on the table following days of backlash against the Biden-Harris administration. Effective immediately, in the exercise of my authority, I hereby withdraw from the 3 partial agreements that you signed on July 31st, 2024, Austin said. Okay, so this is an actual good thing. Okay, so this is the first time that Lloyd Austin actually did something good. Obviously, this is something that should be done. Obviously, they should have the death penalty, but why is it that we are in the year 2024? This is 23 years later, and these people still have not gotten the death penalty. Why is the death penalty taking so long? The death penalty, it's so obvious. What court case do they need to go through? Like, by the time that we say, okay, you could have the death penalty, they're going to be like 70 years old. Like, what are we doing here? Oh my God. McConnell said that the plea deal was a revolting ambition of the government's responsibility to defend America. McConnell said that the plea deal was a revolting ambition of the government's responsibility to defend America and provide justice. The Biden-Harris administration's weakness in the face of the sworn enemies of America people apparently knows no bounds. McConnell said, "The only thing worse than negotiating with terrorists is negotiating with them after they are in custody. The families of their victims and the American people deserve real justice." In the same time that Israel eliminated some of Iran's most trusted terrorist proxies, the administration's decision to spare these mass murderers from the death penalty is an especially bitter pill, which is disgusting. I completely agree. Meanwhile, the Biden-Harris administration still seeks to release other Guatemala terrorists back into the world, he concluded. The administration's cowardice in the face of terror is a national disgrace. I completely agree with McConnell. I mean, obviously, McConnell is a Republican, but at the same exact time, if a Democrat said this, I would totally agree with this. It's just disgusting. It really, really is. The fact that, I mean, it's not even just this. The fact that we had them in custody since 2001. What are we doing? They should have had the death penalty already done and passed by 1 month in, maybe. We know for a fact that they did the crime. What are we waiting for here? What, for next Tuesday? Next Tuesday passed 23 years ago. Oh, God, this is just stupid here. Of course, and this is the first time that somebody was actually held accountable in the Biden administration, because the Biden administration's officials are never even held accountable at all. So this is the first time that somebody was actually held accountable. So the Biden-Harris threatened to cut United States support for Israel if Israel continues to kill top terrorists, which does not make any sense at all. This is according to the Daily Wire. President Joe Biden threatened to cut United States support for Israel in a private call with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu this week after Israel killed top terrorists in the region. Of course, Biden already came out before this and said that if Israel overreacts and stuff like that, then they're going to withdraw aid. But the thing is, this is not an overreaction. If Israel goes and kills terrorist leaders, it just doesn't make any sense here. The call, which included vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris, came after Israel killed Fuad Shukr, Hezbollah's top military commander, on Tuesday, and is believed to be behind the Wednesday killing of Ismail Haniyeh, the top leader of Hamas. Shukr was targeted after Hezbollah murdered 12 children inside of Israel over the weekend, and Haniyeh was targeted in response to the October 7th attacks. Axios reported that Biden and his aides were furious after Israel carried out the strikes and demanded that Netanyahu move toward the hostage deal with Hamas, which does not make any sense. So now we kill a leader of an opposition, or not even an opposition, of a terrorist regime, and now that's a bad thing? Now you must go and have a hostage deal? No, Israel isn't the one that's denying any hostage deal. Hamas is. So Hamas is sitting here saying, no, we're not going to release any hostages, and we will give you 30 bodies. We're not going to give you any live hostages. And Israel's supposed to accept that? Well, we're going to get dead bodies? It's just stupid. And now we're going to sit here and be forced to take this action plan, which does not make any sense whatsoever for Israel at all, because then they can just go and carry out the same exact thing after getting exactly what Hamas wants. No, it does not make any sense. Biden also warned Netanyahu that if he escalates again, that's not even an escalation, that's a defense of your country. Just does not make any sense. Joe Biden has this whole entire thing upside down because he's getting confused. He thinks that Israel should open up the doors so then Hamas terrorists can go into Mexico. It makes absolutely no sense. Joe Biden said this in the past. He does not know any geography whatsoever. He does not think that Hamas is actually next to Egypt, and he actually misplaced the Mexican president for the Egyptian president. The Houthis, an Iranian-backed terrorist group in Yemen, has vowed revenge of the killing of Haniyeh, and Iranian-backed terrorist groups in Iraq who have resumed attacks against United States forces in the region. United States officials believe that the attack from Iran and its terrorist proxy groups on Israel is imminent and could happen anytime in the next several days, according to the reports from Israeli media. So, of course, it does not make any sense because Israel isn't the one that's actually starting this. It's actually Hamas. Hamas started this war in October. So are we going to sit here and just ignore that? No, we shouldn't, at least. And according to this other report from the Daily Wire, the Pentagon is deploying additional resources to the Middle East amid increased threat environment. Of course, the United States Department of Defense announced on Friday that it was deploying some additional assets to the Middle East near the Middle East to increase force posture in the region amid an increased threat environment created by the Islamic Republic of Iran. Of course, this is exactly what happens. The United States is replacing the USS Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group that has been deployed in the region with the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group. The Pentagon is also sending additional ballistic missile defense capable cruisers and destroyers to the United States European Command and the United States Central Command regions, according to a statement. The department is also taking steps to increase our readiness to deploy additional land ballistic missile defenses. The United States is also sending an additional fighter squadron to the region. The news comes after the Western intelligence officials believe with a large-scale attack against Israel will be launched in the coming days after Israel killed Fuad Shukr, Hezbollah's top military commander, on Tuesday, and is believed to be behind the Wednesday killing of Ismail Haniyeh, the top leader of Hamas. Shukr was targeted after Hezbollah murdered 12 children inside of Israel over the weekend, and Haniyeh was targeted in response to the October 7th attacks, like we just said. Joe Biden warned that Benjamin Netanyahu does not actually escalate the war, which Benjamin Netanyahu is not escalating the war whatsoever. He's just protecting himself and his country because this is the leader of the terrorist group that's actually targeting Hamas. That's exactly who you target. You don't target people. You don't target innocent civilians. This is exactly what you're supposed to do with a war. And yes, people are going to sit here on X and on these media sites and say, oh no, well, Israel is actually targeting innocent people. Well, what happens is that when there is a war, there's ugly pictures that arise from the war. Look at when we bombed 2 whole countries after 2001. Of course, we need to hold people accountable for the actions that they take, but it's not the innocent people that should perish. Of course, when you have terrorists hiding within civilians, it's a little bit harder to tell which is civilians and which is not civilians and which are terrorists. So it's hard to actually find the difference between these two people, and it's actually something that is challenging for a lot of people here. And of course, when it comes to the reality of the situation, it's not Israel's fault that Hamas terrorists are hiding within civilians. So obviously, things are bound to happen at that point here. So with that being said, we're going to sum up this episode here. If you do like this show, because we do post new episodes of the show every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening, and I hope they have a great rest of your day.